Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mitt podcast, episode number 145. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is an unspoken and quiet law that essentially means that people feel obligated to return kind gestures or favors that you gave them. Have you ever done something nice for someone, just the kindness of your heart, not because you were trying to get something, and then quickly noticed how appreciative they were, but how they went out of their way to return the favor? This works on a small scale, and this also works on a large scale. And we can actually utilize this to build better relationships, help more people, and become more successful in our careers and lives. A giver will never starve, and they will always have an abundance of opportunities. Have you ever noticed that the people who are the cheapest, who are watching every penny, who don't want to spend money, who are always hoarding capital or resources or opportunities, they have enough, but they never have an abundance. They're never unbelievably wealthy. And have you noticed that the people who are the most generous tippers, who give the most to charity, who don't hide ideas, or when someone else is successful, they cheer and they celebrate as if it was their own or their kid's success? You notice how that person just always has more than they could ever imagine. They're the most successful. They always close the most deals. They always have the most friends. It's not only because they're in an abundant state of mind, but they're constantly and effortlessly helping and giving and being kind and generous to every person around them. At first, you do this for a couple months, you'll see a little bit of improvements in your life. But what happens is every action, either positive or negative, compounds. It either compounds positively or it compounds negatively. It's almost impossible to stay the same. So as you're being kind, doing good business, treating people the right way, and helping people, you're having this snowball effect. Imagine a small snowball starting at a peak of a mountain, and it keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And all of a sudden, by the time it gets midway down to the mountain, it's become a giant, massive snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That is how life works when you're constantly helping other people, being kind, and putting people first. You cannot be in a state of lack when you are giving. This is why the Bible, every main religion, talks about the power of giving. Because even if you're down to your last $100, if you go out and you give as best as you can, with your heart, with your time, with your finances, it will come back tenfold. Tony Robbins, one of the best speakers ever, motivational speaker, peak performance coach, all this stuff. One of the stories that has always stuck with me that he told was he was living in Southern California, and he was down to his last $20 or $30. And his life was at an all-time low. He was stressed. He didn't know what to do. And he said, you know what? I'm basically out of money. I'm going to go to a Golden Corral, which is a buffet restaurant. They're all over the United States, but specifically there's a lot in California. He's like, I'm going to order, I'm going to eat as much as I can because I'm not going to be eating for a couple of days or maybe even a week. Who knows what's going to happen? And so he got it, and it was $7, $10, whatever it was. And he saw this little kid eating with his mom. And he was a gentleman, he was quiet. It was just a great scene. And he came up and he said something really nice to the kid and said, I want to pay for y'all's meal. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it at the front. Y'all have an amazing day. And doing that made him bankrupt. He had now $1 or $2 to his name, if not zero. But in that moment, he started crying. He felt so much joy and abundance because he was giving to someone else. And in that moment, even though he went down to zero, he was in a state of abundance. And what was interesting is later that day, he went and checked the mailbox and he got a $2,000 check from a friend that had owed him money. Life is so interesting. Have you ever noticed that when you start doing the right things, you start reading, you start giving to people, you start saying affirmations, or maybe you're just having a really successful week, it's like everything flows to you. But when you get in a negative state, whether it was from a bad relationship, a bad week, negative stuff on TV or social media, it's like you have these energetic blockages to where money was supposed to come to you, opportunities were supposed to come to you, the relationship was going great, and then all of a sudden, it's like a faucet turning off, where everything comes to a screeching halt. How do you reverse this? You give. You re-enter a state of abundance and you practice it as a life mission. So then abundance never leaves you and lack avoids you at all costs. So I want to give you guys 4 principles that we can all follow to not only be better people, not only to help people, but to apply the law of reciprocity to your life and attract abundance and success in whatever situation you're in. If you're successful right now, you can get to another level. If you're going through a difficult time, you can flip that switch and start attracting incredible people, experiences, and opportunities into your life. Never go to a person's place of business or home without some type of gift. You always want to show up with a generous giving heart. Not only is it respectful, not only is it classy, but it separates you from everybody else. If you've ever hosted a party, Thanksgiving, Christmas, some type of event, you know how much effort it is. And when a person is having guests to their home, they are giving to them. They're not only giving their space, where their family lives, where they sleep, where they eat, but they're giving you drinks, they're giving you food. So they're already in a state of giving. So if the second you walk in, you show up with champagne, with something to drink, flowers, or something that makes them go, oh my God, thank you. They were not expecting it because they woke up with the intention that they are giving to you. So when you show up, whether it's something small, for anybody here that's in sales and you do business to business, or you call on hospitals or doctors, go show up with cookies and donuts and snacks or tacos or pizza and watch how much people love you. You show up and say, hey, I'm new to this account. I don't know where y'all are at as far as XYZ, but I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'm sure you guys like cookies and tacos. There's this favorite taco place I love. I just wanted to bring you guys some. They are going to love you. All of a sudden, you're the person that brings tacos. You're like, oh, you're the taco guy. Like, yeah, that's me. How you doing? Think about how much more open they would be to discussing business or even just building a relationship. People love food. People love flowers. Separate yourself. In the same sense, when you show up to their house, if they say, hey, can I get you a drink? Can I get you a cup of coffee? It's instinctive to think, oh, you're being polite by saying no, but it blocks the law of reciprocity. If you go there and they offer you something, take it. If it's gum, if it's food, if it's coffee, if it's a drink, say yes. It now starts this natural give and take, which is so instinctive to humans for survival. It builds trust. Think about it. Who do people eat with? People they like, respect, and trust. Who do people invite into their home? People they like, respect, and trust. Who do people give things to? People they like, respect, and trust. So when you're starting the relationship of giving or receiving, it starts building a natural chemical bond between two people, two parties, two countries, or two companies. Start with the basics. Number 2, when you meet people for the first time, find ways to help them or give to them. One of the oldest tricks in the book is to quietly and secretly pay for the entire tab. You could do this also if, let's say, you're sitting at dinner and you run into people that you've just met or you just started building a relationship with. Say hello to them, greet everyone, be respectful, go back to your table, and quietly have the waiter or waitress pay their entire tab and say nothing and tell them have a good night. And then when they discover you paid it, they're going like, what the heck? That's incredible. When you sit down at a big dinner, I remember when I just moved to Austin for the first time, and I was just getting to know the people. I knew a few people, and I went to this big dinner with 10, 12 people. And obviously, if you can afford it, if you can't afford it, it's okay, you can do this in other ways. But there was 10 to 12 people there. And a table that big, you can really only talk to the 3 to 4 people that are around you. I was at the end of the table. I was a new person. So I was just quietly chatting with them. And we're at a nice sushi restaurant. And I found the waiter and I said, hey, do you mind covering this entire tab? Put it on mine, just open it right now and then bring it over when it's done. When I paid the entire tab, by the end of it, everyone was asking, hey, did anybody get the check? Did anybody check? And they said, oh no, it was covered. And they said, who paid for it? The waiter said, this guy. Now, all of a sudden, everyone was not only so thankful, but they were trying to connect and get to know me. And so it's something small. It's a quiet gesture. It may cost a couple $100. It may cost $1,000, but you all of a sudden will gain the respect, trust, and not only that, but become more likable to every single person at that table. Everyone remembers when someone buys a dinner for them. Not only is it a cool look, it makes people like and respect you, because you go to a nice restaurant, you're immediately thinking, okay, this is going to cost me $100, $200, $50, $30. And when it's suddenly for free, man, it's a great feeling. No matter how wealthy you are, getting a free dinner is a great feeling. Number 3, and this might be the most important one, don't keep score. When you're a transactional person, people can smell it. They can tell that you're doing things just to get things in return. This is one of the worst looks. It causes you to not be trusted. It makes you look like a snake. It is just not a good way to act to people. When you give, whether it's the dinner that I was just talking about, whether it's a gift, whether it's showing up at their home, well, it's introducing them to someone else and they end up making a bunch of money. Do it with zero expectations. Give because you're a great person. If you believe in God, if you believe in the law of reciprocity at a minimum, and just human instinct and karma, then you know that great things are going to come back to you. Many times when you do something nice for someone, maybe they can't pay it back or give you something in return in a form of money or the same level. But what they can do is they can go around telling other people great things about you. And they could open up a door that you have no idea that they opened. And it may take 10 years. But just because you help that person with their dinner or their rent or with getting a job or meeting their future wife or husband, all of a sudden 10 years down the line, that one person will say something great about you, and then suddenly this huge opportunity will present itself. At the worst, you're just a great person. When you're constantly a good person, like I said, you'll never miss a meal and opportunities will always find you. 4, always speak highly of others, avoid gossiping, and go out of your way to introduce people and open up doors of opportunities every chance that you get. I have a friend named Sean Kelly. You might have seen him on social media. Now he has a bunch of followers. One thing that I noticed, he is probably the greatest networker that I know that I've met in my entire life. In 30 years of life, he is probably number one. And one thing that he does is anytime someone is starting to do really well on social media, and they have 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 followers, he'll follow them and he'll say, hey man, I love what you're doing. I just wanted to connect. He won't ask for anything. And one thing he started doing when he started his podcast, everyone that he would have on, he would put them and invite them into a group chat on WhatsApp. I'm in a group chat with him and I think 950 people. There's billionaires in this chat. There's famous people in this chat. There's every type of business owner you can ever imagine. And there's been millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of deals that have been happening all throughout that. There's people that have amazing relationships with just because of that group chat. And when you think about it, all of those 1,000 people, and that's just that group chat. He's had parties in Vegas, he's had parties in LA, Denver, Miami, all over the place. But when you're constantly introducing people, they will always remember why you got introduced to them. I have a friend in New York. He runs 2 multi-million-dollar companies. He's a great friend. We will always remember that it was Sean Kelly that brought us together. Just that alone puts him in a great light. So if you have friends and you're like, man, you would love this person. Here, let me show you their Instagram. And they go, oh, they look great. Like, I'd love to introduce you. They will never forget that thing and they'll likely return the favor. So remember, guys, this all goes back to the simple notion of being a good person is always the best strategy. In a social media life of hacks and tricks, just being a good person is the hack. And you do it not to get things, you do it because it's the right thing to do. You can't be a giver or be a good person and be in a state of lack. Because if you're being good to others, if you're giving something to others, that means you're in such an abundant state that you know that there's more coming. This causes you to see opportunities, block negativity, and bad people from your life. And it causes great things to flow to you effortlessly. So I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Real quick, there's 2 extra resources to help you guys. I'm having my first ever 2-day workshop on Tuesday and Wednesday of this upcoming week at 4 p.m. We're going to be talking about scaling businesses. There's 200 spots free. Anybody that is a listener of the podcast is welcome to join. There's a link below to register. Also, if you guys are an entrepreneur and you are building, scaling, or starting a company, I work with 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs to scale and grow their companies. If you guys would like to get mentorship, network with 7 and 8-figure entrepreneurs, there is a link below, grantmittconsulting.com. Just book a quick call there. We'll see if it's a good fit. As always, guys, I'm rooting for all of you guys. If you enjoy this podcast, share it with a friend, post it on your story, and leave a review below. I am rooting for you guys. Have an incredible week, and I'll see you guys again for episode 146, as well as the daily affirmations that we're posting each day of the week. Bye, guys. Have a great time.